There's just been so much going on, and you know, I am very sure when y'all come across this video, regardless of the timing, there may be some resonance to the title, but then also the images and the process. I have been processing some really hard relational trauma, and that has ultimately impacted, me being able to come on and just share, like what I've been working on. I have continued my creative practice. I just haven't been able to post about it. So, like, these top sketches are from January, and then I have a few that I did last night that I will share. Um, but I wanted to come on and also talk about this book that has been very helpful um, with a lot of different things, but for the most part, just it's been helpful with kind of processing um, not only relational trauma, but also like nonprofit social justice spaces, right? Organizing spaces and the harm that you experience in those spaces. I love this book, Sustaining Spirit, Self Care for Social Justice. Each chapter is divided or sectioned off by the elements. So, water, fire, air, and earth, right? And um the reflection questions, each chapter has like a 3 to 5 page synopsis or a little story, and then it has reflection questions at the end. And I want to share some of the reflection questions that have been helpful with like this particular activity, if you will, or just again processing. I feel like, as an artist, there's always this weird balance to be drawn around um being like posting what you're actively doing, but then being present, with the projects that you're working on. And sometimes it's hard to be working through something, right? Um, and then also sharing about it in the moment, like sometimes you need to just get, like do it, get through some aspect of it, so that you can share, from an intentional place. And that has been like one of the things that I've been sitting with, specifically with this, because I wanted to come on even in January and talk to y'all about these sketches that I've been doing. But I couldn't. I needed to keep working through these, and like I said, I did these last night, and I was like, okay, I think I'm ready now to kind of talk about what this has been about. And like I said at the beginning, I've been going through some really hard relational trauma and have been, I've been very angry. And I was like, hi there, what is a creative, intentional way for me to work through my anger, and sketching and being more expressive with my facial expressions, also the way that I just sketch and draw. That has been something that I've been actively working on. So I was like, okay, let me, it's hard for me to like name, and like express in words my anger. So let me do it, through my art. And then also, let me try to work through something that I've been practicing to be more loose with, expressive with, more like sketchy, painterly, if you will, right? So basically, what I did was, and usually I've been sketching at night more often than in the morning too. So since January, I would find different images of Black women, um, being expressive about pain, right? Pain and anger and suffering and heartbreak. Those are the words that I use. And if you go to, I'll put it in the description box, but then also, if you just go to like even my most recent video, I have a link to my Pinterest board. Oh, it might even be in my community tab. A link to my Pinterest board. I always link all the pictures and images in my Pinterest board. So these faces or some version of these faces are there, because I don't, like copy it exactly. So if you're looking for specifically Black women, because I'm a Black woman, um, those are the expressions that I wanted to connect with. And so this is just, oh, I almost spilled this. Oh my goodness. This is Ecoline watercolor in sepia. And I just diluted like here, and then sketch on top with this Derwent Inktense sepia ink. I also have this Lyra like chunky crayon water soluble graphite on top, which is the darker black. I also have a Faber-Castell, I think it's like a 9B pencil that's water soluble. That's what the kind of faces are. And then for the lip color, I love these markers. I don't know if y'all, I don't see too many people talking about Winsor and Newton Pro Marker brushes. These are a little bit expensive, but I love these markers. Okay, the tips are like flexible or something, so it makes it very easy to be a little more loose with them. But that's what the lip colors are these Winsor and Newton markers, and the kind of brighter red one is this fire brick, and then the kind of browny darker red is henna. And then I use on this one just my what are these called? Here and Dash Neo colors. And I just, use those for the clothes here. And then I did like some, what do they call, like splashes of color of the watercolor. Um, I really like this one. I like the different color that I use, like around the ears. I really like also, again, how loose the hands are. I am more of an expressive artist. Realistic is not really my jam. So for this, the goal was again to be loose, to help me process like what I was feeling because I didn't have the words at the time. But then also to capture, the anger, the expression, the feeling, the emotion. Like I want people who might come across this to, be like, oh, I feel that, I feel like that. I felt like that. Um, these are, this is an example of like what loose and like quick studies are of expressions. So these are like 2-minute kind of sketches that I would do, like right before I would do something more involved like this, right? So this is how I start to loosen up, warm up, like warm up exercises. That's a better word. Um, and these are the same materials, just, this watercolor sepia and washes of it, light washes, and then dark washes on top, to vary the skin color, but then also to add to the expressiveness of it. And again, this is just like me playing around with my neo colors and different colors to see, to see how it goes. Um, so again, I think this was in January too. This is something that I would do right before I move into more faces, right? So this one is same kind of energy, right? Like sharing the expression, exploring expression, but then also incorporating some of the kind of finishing elements that I'm playing with. So like the squares, the little doodles along the face, right? The splotches. These are things that I add to the end of my work. And I wanted to incorporate that to see how that would go. These are not finished. I did these last night. So like I haven't put on the finishing aspects of this. I haven't done any of the squares and, kind of the additional things on this. I did kind of start framing this one. So we'll see how these go. These are different clearly from the other ones. I think so like this one, I think you can see just kind of the evolution, if you will, right? Getting more comfortable adding hair. I really like the way that I did the hair on both of these. I like the background. I also need to like complete the shirts or like the dresses, the tops. These don't have any hands in them. That's the only thing that I didn't incorporate, was trying to have hands in the piece. So we'll see about that for the next time that I sketch some anger. Um, so that will be the next step for this. The last thing that I will share with this video are some of the reflection questions that I sat with. And maybe this will be helpful for someone that's thinking about like how you use art and wellness together, how to incorporate that. Really creative, expressive arts, right? And some of the reflection questions that align from the book that I was telling y'all about, Sustaining Spirit, is like, how do you react when things happen which are out of your control, right? How can you acknowledge what is? What emotions do you get stuck in? I've just been sitting with these quite a bit. Another book that I was looking for, the physical copy, but I couldn't find the physical copy. I just have a version of it on my iPad. Is Love and Rage by Lama Rod Owens. Um, they are another amazing resource that if you are processing through anger, disappointment, frustration, heartbreak, and heartbreak in the sense of not, well, whatever that may mean to you, right? Because for me, heartbreak in this dynamic, in this season right now, has been related to abuse of power. Heartbreak in the sense of, being upset about the state of things, right? The unfortunateness of really difficult dynamics, right? So, that book, along with the one that I just read from, are the two kind of sources that I've been sitting with, and then I'll sit down and sketch, you know. So let me know in the comments, like, what's your practice when you are kind of feeling some of these emotions as an artist or a creative? How do you, or do you incorporate that into your creative practice? Yep. Let me know what your thoughts are.